sort of driving here, so I just dropped the phone on the seat and make a video. Often enough I get inspired to make videos by a reply to a comment I may have left on someone's video or something like that. And one of the videos I watched a few months back now was one of a 22-year-old male in Southern California who their family was basically run out of money and they had to disconnect the electricity. And, you know, I sort of put a comment that, oh, she's not that bad living without electricity, like, you know, you're not going to flame and die or anything. And someone told me to show a bit of compassion and all that. And I sort of thought of something, it triggered something in my mind, so I'm going to make a video on some of the things that I'm seeing happen. It doesn't seem to have a really, I mean, it does have a tendency amongst some Australians, but there's a lot of Australians, especially the country ones, whereby this doesn't happen because they're willing to toughen up. And what it is it seems that there's, well, it's quite obvious that there's a whole stack of people who are still living the pre-GFC dream. You know, some of these younger generation have been brought up, maybe it's fair to say they've been brought up in a plastic bubble. But either way, they sort of can't accept the situation that they're now under. And it's basically a form of denial that kicks in when things go bad, because they've had so many nice, cushy years of everything going just spot on how they wanted it, you know. And when things get tough, they sit there wailing and moaning about it. And what they're basically in, their mindset is still stuck in the beer and skittle pre-GFC days, and long story short, they're in denial and they can't break out of that mindset now that things have gone bad. But this is a big sort of, you know, issue, because they'll only make themselves stressed out or basically dig themselves deeper into debt if they don't get an epiphany, if they don't get a realisation of the circumstances that they are now under. And it really reminds me of 8 Mile. If you've ever seen, I mean, probably a lot of you probably haven't, but there's a movie that Eminem's in called 8 Mile, and it's about sort of Detroit and all that, and it's not actually his life story. So I found out, but it sort of shows a bit of what it's like. And he's going to press out a bunch of bumpers or door panels or something with new Detroit stamping, which apparently is actually a real business, and it was filmed in that business, part of the movie. And he was there banging out some sort of panels. Anyway, that was his job at the time. And one morning he gets his mate to drive him to work. And he says to his mate, man, do you ever sort of think when we've got to stop living up here and we should start living down here? And what he basically says to his mate is, do you think there's a point in time where we should stop dreaming and talking and thinking and acting as though we're living like we're going to be the next famous rapper, and just wake up to reality and realise that we're in a town that's full of deserted buildings with massive unemployment, working some minimum wage job, banging out panels? You know, when should we stop living the dream and the, I'm going to be a rapper soon, my day's going to come, my big chance is, you know, going to come anytime, blah, 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 I'm on the way up? When are we going to stop living that and start living realising the reality under which we are in? Minimum wage job, doing a crap job, surrounded by deserted buildings, in a high unemployment area, living the life we're really living. And his mate says, I don't know, bro, it's 7 in the morning, I'm, not even awake, more or less. But that's one of the things, you've got to go through that point. Otherwise you continue to give yourself grief, or you blow your last money on your credit card, continuing to live to a lifestyle under which the job market and the circumstances that you are surrounded by do not allow you to live any longer. And that may not be your case. But for those who are living under that case, they've got to make a realisation, because all they do is just get in a big fluff, and they're so busy getting in a fluff, they're not trying to find solutions to the problem. And some of these things are strange solutions and weird ones, but there's an old saying over here in Australia, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. When you got to do what you got to do, then you just got to do it. And there's no point mamby-pambying around about how bad your situation is for a long time. You've got to just drop into gear and start finding solutions if you are under a bad situation. And there's jobs here in this country that are called fly-in, fly-out jobs, mining jobs, where you've got to fly in to the job and then fly out again, and that may be an option because you can work, you can live anywhere in Australia and get these jobs. The other one is in this country, it's an option to move out in the outback. They're always busting for workers out in the outback. It is very, very hot. It is desolate conditions. It is dangerous. The heat can kill you under the wrong circumstances and with lack of water. And you may realise that, hey, you got to move into some farming job, and that may be the option that you've got to face. But all these people say, oh, but I can't. Well, the more you can't, then the more chance there is of not waking up and starting to fix things, as opposed to sitting in suspended animation and making